tilt the camera up just a bit?
I'm trying to slowly float up. There you go. Slowly being the key word.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's not the best angle to get a shot of it, but
Okay, let's zoom out.
okay, coming wide.
And we made it to 2G. And so we want to start making our way towards 2H.
Roger, 2H. You want to stay on the cliff as we go?
Look at that sponge.
I do.
Yeah,
My goodness.
let's follow this contour until we get down a
Yeah.
little closer to 2H, and then we can drop down and see some different depth zones, because we feel like we've pretty well characterized this depth zone here.
Roger.
Beautiful shot.
Wow.
That was south, was it?
Yeah, south.
Okay, coming wide.
Wow, as you zoom in, see more.
Is that
Yeah.
a little spotty
Shrimp
there?
and
The little white thing
white
in the
crab.
shrimp.
Squat lobster.
Yeah, we're stable at the moment.
Yeah, very
Is that
stable.
full zoom, is it?
Boy. Yeah, you just didn't see those until you zoom in.
These crinoids are basically a type of sea star.
Okay. All right. Full wide.
Roger, full light. Slow on the uptake there.
Carrie, I wanted to let you know that I took a quick peek about brittle stars regeneration, and they often will lose an arm if getting away from a predator, and they can regrow one within months. And if an arm is injured, it might just cast off its entire arm to grow that new one. So they may not necessarily repair, but they will replace.
Yeah, it seems like we've seen them
Very
throw
interesting.
their arms at us
Thank you.
before. Here, take this. I'm leaving. Is that kind of like a lizard with his losing his tail to?
Yeah, they could be sacrificing a limb to get away. There's an octopus.
And Danny, how did you, or why did you guys choose Box Canyon as one of the main areas of exploration for this cruise?
Well, in 2017, we explored another area in Box Canyon that was really had a high amount of animals and high density of animals, high diversity. And we looked for similar types of habitat, so where the bathymetry looked similar and the slope looked similar, and we found this, which is type of habitat we were interested in, high slope, hard substrate habitat, and it was in a depth zone that we were interested in looking at, where we were interested in looking for bamboo corals and black corals, which we've definitely seen on this dive. So this area is further to the south than the other area that we explored, so it's not looking in the same area. It's a little to the south, but we thought it would be similar habitat.
Danny, from the other maps that, or the other data, I guess, in the sanctuary, are there other canyons besides Box and Bodega that might be worth pursuing for looking for habitat?
There aren't really large canyon features that we're interested
Do
in,
a
but
laser zoom on the octopus there, Wayne?
Sure.
the
That's good.
there is on the slope habitat there are some areas that look like they have hard substrate and high slope. So there have been some other areas that we've been exploring, like to the southwest of Cordell Bank, so a little bit south of where we are now.
He's got goosebumps.
Hmm.
We got some great shots of an octopus on an earlier watch. The blue eyes.
Really cool. I think I'll just get out of here.
Okay. Us or him?
Him.
Maybe they
Or
won't
her.
see me.
Or her?
Really cool. Oof. I'm gonna get the lasers. Sorry.
It's like a cat toy.
I know.
The Humboldt squid sure go after them.
Really?
Oh yeah, they are real aggressive. And then if a laser hits a rock, they'll run down and grab the rock and pick it up.
Okay.
Oh,
coming
sorry. Contact.
Wide. Coming wide. Full wide. Okay.
So that octopus is Granelodon boreopacifica,
Auto heading. killed
and
me.
that's been the most common octopus that we've seen in this area.
Partial zoom.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, coming wide.
Roger.
Full wide. Yeah, there's a lot of diversity here.
You can zoom a little, Wayne, if you want. If I
Okay.
get too close, I dust it. That's a lot of
Yeah.
sediment on it.
All right.
That's good.
Looks like we might have a black coral next to that bamboo coral.
That one there.
little one.
The pink one right below the
Yeah.
lasers.
Mm-hmm.
Or that might be
I
something.
can get
Oh
in
yeah,
a little bit.
could be our Parantopathes, which we collected earlier on this dive.
That one at just below it is
There you go, Wayne. You can zoom there.
all right. Okay.
Great, we can zoom out.
All right. Okay, full wide.
Miles, can you pump that sonar to 5 again for me?
Yo.
This gives me a better reference of distance to the cliff. Thank you.
Jenny, someone tuning in mentioned that octopus are great at camouflaging. How do they perceive color to then mimic their surroundings?
Well, I was thinking about the octopus down here at depth. They don't have light down here to change color and react to their surroundings. It's just dark. So I was noticing that, actually, realizing, oh, it's not really changing color too much. They might have different hues, but octopus in shallow waters seem to have incredible mimicry that can change with light. I am not an octopus biologist by any means, but from what I've read, they just have this incredible nervous system that can mimic their surroundings. And
I
even
usually
change
look
their
at that
texture
before I
too.
press it, and I rarely do. That one,
So definitely a strategy for the shallow area octopuses, but not really needed for the deep sea octopuses.
it's interesting we have no DVL but altitude.
You don't have altitude.
Huh? Oh, it just defaults to.
There's a nice sponge and a primnoid coral.
Yes.
Yes. Not much zoom needed.
That's great.
But we can get really intimate. If we want. Full wide.
Roger. Come down for a while. Looks like it goes around the
Is
corner
that a
there.
little black coral on that? Right below
Yeah,
feather star.
you can zoom
Zoom.
here.
Oh, little jelly.
There you go. This is
Oh, I see him. I'll come back up a bit. I think I see him.
Oh yeah. Next to the little white fluff.
right, little white sponge.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Zoom there.
Zooming in. Yeah, definitely a black base.
The feather stars look so well adapted to catching to marine snow compared to the brittle stars that are hanging up on those corals.
Yeah,
Just the right appendages.
that's great. Thank you. We got
Okay,
that.
coming wide.
There's a lot of it here, even in Argus. This, artificial marine snow there.
We might want to start working our way around that. We gotta start moving east.
East?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were bumping south. Oh, you're going east now.
Oh, southeast.
Southeast. Yeah, I can work around it.
135.
There seem to be a lot of critters in this column, so we'll
It's an interesting cluster.
It's a grenadier. It's a nice shot. A primnoid coral, some black coral, and a shelf sponge. Some crinoids.
Yeah, it's a pretty dense collection of black corals. Yeah.
Yeah, a little hot spot right there.
Yeah. Okay, coming wide.
Roger.
Wide.
So
So,
Carrie, I just looked up
where's
about
our
octopuses. Apparently they do change in deeper environments in the mesopelagic, what zone is this? The zone that gets a little bit of light.
Roger.
400 to 800 meters. They can change color. And that could be, because they do get a little bit of light, it could mean the difference between life and death by having the ability to camouflage. I'm going to do some more reading on this.
Very cool.
But we're at 1,727 meters,
Okay.
so I'm curious about deeper than that. So I'll do a little bit more work on that.
Thank you. So obviously to see well at these depths, we need some pretty powerful lights and great cameras. Wayne, as our video engineer, can you tell us any more about this technology?
Yeah, I think there's a dozen high-powered lights that are mounted on Hercules, and the pilots have the ability to turn them on or off. They don't have the, I don't think they have the ability to dim them, but they can turn a number of them on or off to. But
Delta.
You're right underneath me.
The name of the game is getting as much light as possible down here to make it easier for the camera. And then as you get closer to
Yeah, I'm just going straight down at
objects, they'll often
I
have
need to
too
move.
much light from Hercules. So I'm constantly moving the iris adjustment of the camera to let enough light, reflected light, come back to the camera to make the image usable and optimal. So
Want to zoom there a little, Wayne?
yeah, when it looks like I'm turning the lights up and down, I'm actually just adjusting the iris up and down, and the lights are staying constant. So while at the same time trying to adjust the focus for the distance the camera is from the.
That's good. We can zoom out.
Zoom out.
Okay, zooming out.
So I've been descending along this kind of feature here because of the biology, but I think we're meant to come around to the southeast a bit.
Yep, to the southeast, but 2H is also at 1793, so we do have a bit more to go down.
Okay. Well, it seems to be petering out a bit here, and I need to slide towards Argus, it feels like. Just have a
That
little,
works for me if we follow along a contour and then drop down again towards 2H.
yeah. I can follow along. It was just an interesting drop there. We kept fighting more. Looks like there's a shelf there, so I'm going to start sliding to the southeast.
For new listeners, Jenny, can you tell us a little bit more about the significance of marine sanctuaries and more specifically Cordell Bank in the Greater Fairlands where we're exploring this week?
Sure. So Cordell Bank is one of 13 national marine sanctuaries in this system. The Office of National Marine
Can I
Sanctuaries
get a zoom on that coral ahead of us to the right of the lasers?
is part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And honestly, these are really some of our best habitats in U.S. waters that people see as important to really focus on and preserve, and a little different than national parks, but similar in the sense that we recognize them as ours to protect and to preserve and to use as living classrooms for education. And
That's great. We can
as
zoom out.
laboratories for science. Around here,
Zooming out. Full wide.
we have such a rich, unique ecosystem along the west coast with this California current ecosystem that we have 3 national marine sanctuaries that are working to protect these vital habitats as well as maritime history. And they really become a focal point for doing science and bringing together collaborators for best understanding them. Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary, I'm so curious what would have happened if it never became a National Marine Sanctuary in terms of the amount we've learned about the ocean through this area. Through the dedication of it being a sanctuary, it really became a focal point for bringing together partners, for funding, for collaborations, mapping, research, monitoring, to just best understand it. Around here, the people that are so supportive of the sanctuaries would probably say the fact that we ban oil and gas is one of the most significant pieces or prohibitions that we have, and making it so significant for this part of the coast, which is not the case all around the U.S.
Looks like we have another whelk tower at the top left corner of the screen and a nice primnoid coral right in front of us. It's providing a lot of habitat
Partial
for
zoom.
brittle stars and serpent stars.
Roger.
Yeah, it's a popular real estate for brittle stars.
Totally.
That's great. We can zoom out.
Okay, zooming out.
Roger.
Full wide.
Did you want to see something else here? I heard something else, but wasn't sure.
No, we can keep going.
Roger. Keep following the geological features. A little shelf.
This is a nice distance from the wall, but we can see
Approximately 5 meters.
5 meters off the wall.
Oh no, sorry, 2.5. We changed our scale.
Because we're trying to characterize this habitat in Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary, we are moving along these features and identifying things as we go. And then we will also be looking at this video back in the office and running through it and identifying things which we can stop and start the video that we don't have time to do while we're watching it live, and enumerate all the organisms that we see. So as we're moving along, that's why we're sometimes saying, okay, zoom in so we can get a good idea on it, then zoom out and keep moving along so we can keep covering the ground and making sure we cover a good area that we can characterize the habitat.
It was fun hearing Caitlin earlier yesterday. She's watched all of our underwater footage, so it's like she's been here. And she was able to just dive right in and move. Hey, Carrie, I'm not sure if my mic was on when I responded about the sanctuaries. Did you hear that?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, and a really unique part about the EV Nautilus is the telepresence ability. So our live stream allows via satellite for scientists to also receive the data and the video. And so more than just the individuals on this vessel are able to participate in, you know, almost real time with each expedition. And the telepresence also allows us to do interactions with school groups and museums while we're out to sea. And that's really special to involve the community in this exploration as well.
I wonder if this rock has sulfur compounds or
Zoom in a bit
kind
there,
of
Wayne.
yellowy hue.
Sure.
Wait for the
Or is that
waiting
just the
for the
lights?
ship.
I'm sorry?
Oh, waiting for the ship. So, oh, he's tucked in.
Mm.
Get the light on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see. It does look rather interesting in there.
All right.
Coming wide. Full wide.
Roger.
Johnny, who's tuning in, is curious about how close we are at these depths to the core of the Earth.
Closer than we've ever been before.
We are at 1744, 1,744 meters below the surface of the ocean. So I don't know how close that puts us to the core of the Earth, but we are fairly deep. We started this dive at almost 2,200 meters, 21 something. So we've been exploring this and moving up the canyon very slowly. Can take a quick zoom on that bamboo.
This is really the surface of the Earth. If you just remove all the ocean, this is the Earth right here.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go in from here to get to the core of the Earth.
Yeah. For scale, I guess it would, instead of being on the outside of a balloon surface, you'd be on the inside surface of the balloon. Doesn't really get you that much closer to the core.
Oh, I just saw a little sea pig. Little
I
cucumber.
missed him.
And right now we're seeing images from Hercules, one of our amazing ROVs and really the workhorse
Coming wide.
of this whole operation.
Full wide.
Hercules can go as deep as 4,000 meters. And Hercules is tethered to Argus. They work as a great team. Argus sits above Hercules, but Argus could work independent and go even deeper than Hercules to 6,000 meters of
Zoom
depth.
in there, Wayne, please.
Zooming in.
We got the little fan thingy while we're waiting for the boat.
Not. What?
That guy.
Oh, yeah,
Tube wormy thing.
yeah.
Not sure what it is.
And both of these robots are then connected to the EV Nautilus, the vessel that we're currently on. And allowing us to transmit all of this to you guys.
These are some worms that extend their appendages to feed in the water column, and then they retract when they've been disturbed.
Okay, coming wide. Full wide.
Thank you. Okay. What do I want? Southeast?
Yeah, you want a 130.
130. Oh, another cliff. Awesome.
What is that? Hold on. That's
Just the rock.
Hopefully it's a giant cliff and I'm going to jump off it.
oh, that's
Going
what
to
it
turn
is.
around and look.
Understood. Yes, I see it now.
It doesn't look too giant. Something though. Bet you $1 if we broke one of those open, there would be a fossil inside. Zoom in on the egg
Okay.
thingy.
That looks like one of those egg stacks.
Yeah, that's a whelk egg tower. You can zoom out.
Okay, coming wide. Full wide.
It's not soft again.
One of our viewers was interested in learning a little bit more about the impact of Herc's lights on different organisms.
Well, a lot of the organisms, so all of these organisms are living in the dark, and this is probably the only time they've ever seen light if they can sense it, like the fish and the octopus. But a lot of them may not even perceive it. Most of them do not react. Sometimes the fish will be curious about the ROV and come investigate, but it's likely that some of them aren't affected by it, and then the ROV is only in that area where those organisms are for a minute or so, and then it moves on. So it's likely that, you know, it just has a very temporary effect on the organisms, if at all. Good wall habitat and an octopus right ahead of us.
These octopus have a very long brooding period, documented up to 53 months for brooding their eggs.
Wow.
The female.
That's a lot.
It's a long time.
It is a long time. And that's one of the longer lifespans for octopus, because they, a lot of octopus don't live that long, and that their brooding period is longer than some lifespans.
We found this out by the research in
Zoom
Monterey
in on
Canyon.
that coral right ahead of us.
Okay.
ROVs in Monterey
The pink
Canyon
one.
actually studied these octopus to come to that fact. And I believe
Go ahead,
Nautilus
Wade.
is heading back to an area where there were a lot of octopus seen
ready,
last
Dan?
time next
Yes,
week.
sir.
Okay.
Davidson Seamount in Monterey Bay Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Well, let me take a look at that. That might be something we're interested in.
Okay, let's keep pushing in.
If we want to collect that, I'll probably have to move this ship.
Okay, I don't think we need it.
Have to speak up a bit. I can barely hear you.
I don't think we need to collect that.
Okay.
Roger.
Okay, coming wide.
Moving on.
Thank you.
So yes, you can follow along on our expeditions. We'll continue to be exploring Cordell Bank National Marine Sanctuary and the Greater Fairlands National Marine Sanctuaries until October 11th. And then our last expedition of the season is Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary from October 13th through the 18th. So a few more weeks of really cool footage and wildlife.
This is a nice view of this wall. It's a nice distance and speed. Taylor Ann, do we have any core tubes left to take?
I think there's one core tube left.
One core tube left, one Niskin, and one bio box.
Yes, we have one core and one in the skin and one empty bio box.
Okay.
Taylor Ann, can you tell us a little bit more about the different types of samples that we take?
Yeah, sure. So we take physical samples. So yeah, we have physical samples. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we can take anything from corals, like any other animals that we would take back to the lab and put in our fridge before we actually look at them on a mat and measure them and process them, depending on what species they are. We also can take sediment cores. So we put this big tube into the sediment to take a sample, or we could take Niskin samples, which we would take the water sample. Sometimes we use this for eDNA, another test run. And we also can take geological samples and take rocks, and we would dry those in the lab and take pictures and measure those as well.
Neat. I'm really excited to learn more about the eDNA. eDNA stands for environmental DNA, and this is a way of understanding what species are in our area. So by just taking a sample of water, you can isolate DNA and sequence it and learn about the different animals from just DNA that is sloughed off either scales or from their feces. And it tells you a lot about who's been in the area. But it's a bit of an emerging field, and so there's a lot to still learn about, you know, the area which it's speaking to. And I'm excited to learn more from the samples that we take on this expedition.
We're starting to see some sea pigs on the seafloor here.
I'm not sure what these little floaty white balls are.
It's interesting. The sea pigs are a type of sea cucumber, and they have a couple elongated appendages, which actually helps them to walk. They're all hydraulically operated.
Can you zoom on that eel pout?
Sure. Go ahead, Wayne. Zooming in on what? Sorry.
The eel pout, the fish.
Oh, yeah.
Question mark. Are
And a
those
bunch
the
of sea
pigs?
pigs. Those are them.
Okay. Bunch of pigs.
There we go.
Pigs.
This guy here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now he's gone.
Right.
Aw.
Okay.
Ah,
Well, they're real cute.
He wanted to
opportunity
show
for
off his swimming.
fish herding.
He's like, I was looking for sea pigs.
Are eel pouts similar to other eels where they do not have scales, like many other fish species we're familiar with?
I don't
Okay.
know.
And that's as close as we can get.
Pretty close.
Full wide.
Roger.
Well, you wanted to see him.
I'm more familiar in the Hudson River with the American eel, and I know that they have a pretty intense mucus on their outer skin, which makes them particularly slimy, but they don't have traditional scales. But that mucus acts as a really important defense mechanism and buffer to predators.
Do you think these little white balls are connected to the seafloor?
one way to find out.
Let's take a look.
There's one
I mean,
right there.
they kind of look like hot air balloons hovering, but
Which one?
There was one
Oh,
right
I see
there.
that
There we
one's
go.
creating
Sure,
a
in the
little
Just to
shadow.
the right of the lasers is a good one.
A little low there,
Oh.
Dusty. Damn it. Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Let's see.
They appear to be moving across the seafloor. Yeah, I don't think it's just parallax.
It's quite a lot of them.
it's interesting.
Okay, we're getting
There's
to
a
some
can.
sea pen habitat. Oh, yeah. There's some marine debris.
Debris.
Oh, no.
So marine debris is one form of a human impact that we do see even at these depths. Yesterday we saw a 5-gallon bucket, maybe some type of soft plastic as well.
We can take some zooms on these sea pens, unless, are we getting pulled along?
You hear that, Dan? I want
What's
to
that?
zoom on these sea pens.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I did not hear that. I lost him.
I think they're below you.
Can also see if we can zoom in on these little white balls.
Do you see him? Sorry, I was moving it too fast there across the mud.
As we work to zoom in, listeners are also curious what we do
There's one.
with our free time
Okay, Wayne,
on
zoom
the
in there.
expedition.
I'll zoom in.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to take a look and see if that's something we're interested in collecting, since we have one sample left.
We could, I don't
Doesn't-
know how well they're rooted there. We could probably suction sample them.
Thought the suction wasn't working. Also, it's I don't need to collect it.
Okay. Okay, coming wide.
Roger.
Is that correct that the suction isn't working?
I heard that it may or may not be working. I thought it was working, but there was some, something stuck in it.
Do we want to try and identify one of these floaters?
Sure.
Okay, there's a line of 3. Or there's one about
Just
4
under the
o'clock.
lasers there?
Yeah,
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 that's
right there. You got
probably
it.
Good for a zoom.
They, are they floating or are they tethered and just bouncing?
Is that full zoom there?
No, that is. Let me give it
Not sure why I'm bouncing.
oh, that one released. Let's try this one.
It's like they're tethered.
It's definitely tethered. And then the other one released when it encountered some, I think some of the turbulence. Let's see. It's definitely got some fine hairs. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying not to
No, it's okay.
land there because it's so soft and we put mud
Yeah.
on the vehicle. I can if you want, but then we drag the mud around for.
No, that might be one of them that just floated by.
You guys happy to move on?
Yes, we can move on.
Moving on.
Okay. Full wide.
140.
140.
Does anyone know how I can get my science chat back up? I don't see that window on my computer anymore.
I think it's
Stand by. I'll come back and give you a hand with
This
that.
one?
this one right here. No, the X, this X thing.
Great.
There you go.
What are we doing? Sorry, I can't hear.
They're having technical issues.
Okay, we're good. We can keep moving along to 2H.
Moving all the time.
I got it. I got it.
Great, and as we move along, yeah, listeners are curious what we do on our free time on the EV Nautilus. Anybody want to share a little bit about how they pass time on the vessel?
Sleep, watch the dive that's happening on, that's not on your watch. And
Multitask.
get the work done that you're not doing because you're not in the office.
Yep.
I attempted to exercise yesterday. That was fun.
I find myself spending most of my time avoiding snacks.
Oh.
Yes, we are fed very well on the EV Nautilus. And there's
And-
always food around.
It's also been nice to get to know some of the other team members. There's some incredible people here from all around the world. And it's a nice little community on this boat.
Definitely.
Our vessel.
And that's a great part of being on the vessel is it really has a pretty great diversity of scientists. And so you're able to learn about each other's pathways to the Nautilus, hear about other expeditions that people have been on, and nerd out together.
This is a sea pig place. There's a lot of sea pigs. I just wonder why had they got the name sea pig and the other cucumbers did not. Why do they have that common name?
Sea pig on the run. Uh, 135, right? 35 down the hill.
What do you have over here? Another blob sculpin, maybe? Let's take a look at this.
Zoom in a bit there, Wayne.
Zooming in. He looks like a very lethargic fish.
I'm at the end of my leash there. Oh, no, wait.
We've seen a few of them on this dive. At least one that I remember early in the dive. And yeah, they just kind of, they're a sit and wait predator, so they don't move around too much.
If he had a spirit animal, it might be a snow owl.
Just a operational FYI, we are 90 minutes from the surface.
90 minutes.
So it's going to take us 90 minutes to be on deck? Okay, so we
Well,
need,
to be at recovery position.
so we have 90 minutes to still survey?
Yeah.
We have about 55 minutes to still survey.
Full wide.
6:15, 90 minutes is 7:45 at surface. About 15 minutes to recover.
Oh, it's only 15 minutes to recover?
Once we get, once we get to surface and that evolution begins, it's 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we can stay on bottom for another 50 minutes, 50.
Sorry, 35 minutes.
35 minutes.
It's early, I'm sorry.
Okay.
50 minutes sounds better.
We can push it, Mark won't be happy.
No, suffer the wrath.
People start to miss breakfast.
Try a zoom there, Wayne. Wait for the ship. A little more. Yeah. You can see through them if you get close.
Give this pig his 15 minutes of fame.
Aren't
Yeah.
they just, they're so cute.
Yeah,
It's kind of
try
cool
a
to see how they use those appendages to dig into the mud.
Zoom right in.
Okay.
See if he's transparent. If I can hold it still enough.
I don't know if
Do we know if there's some hard substrate nearby?
I don't see any on the sonar. Looks like we.
Yeah, to the northwest of Vargas, there looks to be a cliff. That's back